here in Levi's Stadium, where he is 3-0 on this field.
Well, with Ben Roethlisberger out, Trent, we're going to see Mason Rudolph at quarterback.
His first career NFL start a week ago. He had an opportunity to play in the second half, played very well, but now he gets the opportunity with this whole week of practice, how he's going to get it done.
Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers have won the toss, and they will defer, which means the 49ers will get their hands on the football first. The Niners with wins over Tampa Bay and over Cincinnati, and both of those on the road. This is their home opener up against the 0-2 Pittsburgh Steelers. Richie James is deep, and we are underway. This won't be returned, and they'll begin at the 25-yard line. Downstairs to Melanie Collins.
Thank you, Greg. The 49ers look to go 3-0 on this season without their six-time Pro Bowl left tackle Joe Staley, who's out with a fractured left fibula. So the rookie, Justin Skule, will get the start. He'll be protecting Garoppolo's blind side today. Staley told me that he had Justin over for dinner on Tuesday night for a little crash course. He said, look, he's highly intelligent. He's never going to have a missed assignment, and he's ready for this moment, Greg.
All right, Melanie, thank you. There is Justin Skule, number 67. Sixth-round draft pick out of Vanderbilt. This is Breida, and Breida out to the 30-yard line. 121 yards rushing at Cincinnati a week ago. There is Jimmy Garoppolo. 297 yards throwing with 3 TDs a week ago. He has 4 touchdown passes on the year against 2 picks. And you look at his numbers as a starter, he's been pretty successful.
He has been very successful, and when you saw that first play that the 49ers run, that's what they base this whole offense off, is running the game in between the run game between the tackles and setting up the play-action pass.
Garoppolo still has it, now throwing, and catch is made across the 40-yard line by the tight end, George Kittle. 12 yards and a first down.
Same exact play action or effect with the running back and the receiver in the backfield, so that draws up the linebackers. That creates that middle lane. Kittle goes up and makes a great catch.
There are some tight ends that are just plain tough to cover, and George Kittle is one of them. Garoppolo still with the football. Now throwing at the screen, pops up in the air, picked off. The Steelers have the turnover inside the 35-yard line. That's TJ Watt.
Well, 3 plays in a row. All 3 plays look the same. With the first play was a handoff to the back. The next 2 were fakes to the wide receiver going around. This time, instead of throwing the backside route to Kittle, they try setting up the screen. A little bit behind Breida, but he pops that ball up in the air, and TJ Watt is in position to take it the other way.
Stephon Tuitt looked like he came really close to maybe getting a fingertip on that ball. So the turnover puts Pittsburgh in a golden spot at the San Francisco 33. James Conner didn't practice most of the week, did practice Friday, suffered a sore knee from his last outing. Rudolph to throw, and that's a short one over the middle, and maybe got back to the line of scrimmage. So Mason Rudolph, out of that big class of quarterbacks, although he's not one of the ones that went in the first round, he was the 3rd round pick out of Oklahoma State.
And what he did a week ago, you can see the numbers there. The guys on the offensive line, he's had opportunity to work with them prior to Ben Roethlisberger's injury, taking snaps on Wednesdays. They feel very confident in what he can do and how he's going to handle this today.
2nd and 10. Quick pass to the near side. That goes nowhere. Juju Smith-Schuster on the receiving end, but Ahkello Witherspoon was waiting for him. That Pittsburgh offense is led, of course, by Rudolph, and plenty of experience in front of him on the O-line. Ramon Foster in his 11th year, Marquise Pouncey in his 10th. The backs and receivers, the former 49er tight end Vance McDonald had 2 touchdown catches last week in the loss to Seattle. Jalen Samuels in the backfield on 3rd and 12. And now he's flanked to the near side. Short pass is complete. Smith-Schuster inside the 30 to the 28-yard line and no further. And that'll bring the field goal unit on.
Well, you have to think, if you're the 49ers defense, that you're happy with what just happened. After the turnover gives the Steelers outstanding field position, they come out and they respond. not allowing the Steelers to move the ball and forcing them to a field goal attempt.
But what a golden opportunity gone by the boards for a Pittsburgh Steelers team hungry for a win after an 0-2 start. This is Chris Boswell from 46 yards. And it is good. 11:47 left to play in the first. T.J. Watt with the pick and a 3-0 Pittsburgh lead. Off the turnover, the Steelers register their first quarter points of this season. Not what Mike Tomlin wanted, but he'll take it in light of how the first 2 games have gone. Richie James at the goal line. 15, 20, and out of bounds at about the 25-yard line. So let's take a look at this San Francisco offense, which is led by Jimmy Garoppolo on the offensive line. As Melanie pointed out, rookie Justin Skule, big shoes to fill at left tackle in place of Joe Staley, and a couple of big-time weapons in tight end George Kittle and lightning-fast running back Matt Breida. From the 25. The pitch for Breida. Out to the 29-yard line, our first update of the day. JB, Phil.
Saints on the board first. Deontay Harris catches the punt, goes 53 yards for the touchdown. How about that's the way to start the game on the road in Seattle. New Orleans 7, Seattle nothing. Back to Greg, Trent, and Melanie.
Philip, thank you so much. 2nd and 6. And Breida again. And Breida across the 35 to about the 37-yard line. People who don't know much about this San Francisco team, Trent, they are fast.
They're extremely fast, and Breida being one of them. A year ago, 2018 season, Breida recorded the fastest time, over 22 miles per hour. They've been very effective running the football this season, 179 yards per game on the ground.
Oh, Garoppolo gets buried back at the 26-yard line by Stephon Tuitt. Tuitt now with 3.5 sacks on this young season.
Well, that's just the second sack of Garoppolo on the season. You take a look at Tuitt right here. Quickly engages with McGlinchey. McGlinchey, that's going to be one of the things I want to keep an eye on. We talked about Skule starting for the first time at left tackle for the injured Staley. McGlinchey just in his 2nd year, the first-round pick out of Notre Dame. That's going to be the challenge all day. Those 2 tackles against the pass rush of the Steelers.
Plenty of time this time for Garoppolo now on the move and throws this side of the field. That is complete. And down at about the 33-yard line once again is George Kittle. That Pittsburgh 3-4 defense, Tuitt, as we mentioned. 2.5 sacks over the first 2 games. He had another one here. Young and athletic linebacker group includes 3rd-year standout T.J. Watt and the rookie Devin Bush. And in the secondary, newly acquired Minkah Fitzpatrick starts alongside Terrell Edmonds at safety.
First, Keith Butler, defensive coordinator, talked to him this week, and he's excited about having Minkah Fitzpatrick. He also doesn't want to overwhelm him in his first game here in the black and gold.
3rd and 14, that pass midfield, that is complete for a first down. Richie James. We get a penalty marker down in the backfield. Our referee today is Scott Novak.
Legal use of hands, hands to the face, defense, number 55. Penalties decline. First down.
That penalty is on the rookie Devin Bush. It's a 16-yard pickup and a first down.
This completion by Garoppolo is going to come against the corner Steven Nelson, who's newly acquired for the Steelers, free agent from Kansas City. This is where the Steelers have been hurt the last 2 weeks, is when they've been in man-to-man coverage. And I'm not saying every time it's Nelson, it's different players breaking down and giving those conversions, whether you're talking about New England in week 1 or last week against Seattle.
Drop the football in the backfield, a scramble for it. The official goes down. Let's see who comes up with the ball. Looks like the 49ers. Raheem Mostert went back and got the ball that he dropped.
Just your simple toss sweep. takes his eyes. You could see his eyes, the helmet, you could see it raised before the ball hit him in the hands. He was looking up to see where the defense was, and just that slight second taking your eyes off the ball, Greg, you lose track of it. Fortunate to get it back for the 49ers.
Loss of 18. You think on the sideline, Kyle Shanahan is saying, have we gotten rid of the jitters yet? 2nd and 28. On the slant. That's complete. And across the 40 to about the 44-yard line is Deebo Samuel. 2nd-round draft pick from South Carolina. Had 1 touchdown catch coming in. There is Kyle Shanahan in his 3rd season as the head man here in San Francisco. He has a rushing offense that's 4th best in the league this young season at over 178 yards a game.
There is some confusion. Kyle Juszczyk still staying out on the field, whether or not he's supposed to be.
First charge of the first half.
Well, we'll take a break and we'll come back to Santa Clara in 30 seconds after this from Pepsi. So maybe Kyle Shanahan saying, now have we gotten the jitters out of the way.
Yeah, not the smoothest of starts for the 49ers, but.
Well, they've converted a 3rd and 14.
Yes, they have. So here we go. It looks like the Steelers are going to more of a 2-deep show, which you would think of on 3rd and long.
Garoppolo, a little pass to the near side to Kittle. And the tight end bulls his way across midfield to about the 48-yard line, well short of a first down. And that'll bring the punting unit on.
Yeah, with the Steelers only rushing 4, dropping 7 into coverage, anticipating 3rd and long, you could get a screen. That's you just have everybody rally, try and make the tackle.
That's Ryan Switzer of the Steelers back at his own 10-yard line for the upcoming kick from Mitch Wisnowski. Fair catch called for. And it sails over his head and into the end zone for the touchback. 6:54 to play, 1st quarter. Steelers lead it by a field goal.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Modelo, a taste that's pure gold, brewed for those with a fighting spirit. State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM. And by AT&T. More for your thing. That's our thing.
The one and only Golden Gate Bridge up in San Francisco, about an hour north of us here in Santa Clara. Trent, do you know it only took 4 years to build the Golden Gate Bridge back in the 30s? Really? Would they use Legos?
Yeah, that's pretty
unbelievable.
remarkable, yeah.
So here's Mason Rudolph. And the Steeler offense at the 20. And this is Connor. And Connor for about 5 to the 25. Let's get to your game plan for the day.
Well, let's start with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the first thing they need to do is contain the 49ers run attack. And the reason I say that is because everything goes off of that rush attack. It's the play action pass, the protections, the screen game. Second thing is for Pittsburgh is support for Rudolph, and that is all the other players need to do what their job is. And then for San Francisco, get quarterback pressure to disrupt Mason Rudolph, and then the young tackle's performance. I touched on that a little bit ago.
Connor again, tripped up in the backfield. No gain on that. It'll be 3rd and 5. You know, in talking with Kyle Shanahan, and we've talked with John Lynch, the general manager, they have a plan, and it's working very well so far.
It is. They've incorporated a lot of speed onto this team. If you look at the turnover they've made in the last couple seasons, everything has been generated around speed. They have speed all over the field on defense, and we've seen it already on offense.
Here comes the blitz on Rudolph. He got rid of it, and that pass is incomplete. Deontay Johnson looked like he might have held up a little bit coming on the slant.
Well, I think he felt that inside presence, and so he wanted to kind of gear it down in the middle of coverage. What that is just reps for Mason Rudolph, but Good disguise there by the San Francisco defense. They mainly want to rush 4. They're going to put a lot of guys at the line of scrimmage, but for the most part, they're only going to rush 4, try and cause some confusion with your protection.
Jordan Berry kicks it away. This is Richie James at the 20. Shakes off one tackler. Has blocking. And across the 25 to about the 27-yard line. 5:28 to play in the first quarter. We're still 3-0 Steelers.
The Pittsburgh Steelers are the champions for the 4th time.
There's no higher honor than winning the Super Bowl, and they can never take it away.
Boy, the Steelers in the 70s, the Steelers or the 49ers in the 80s. Talk about racking up fans coast to coast. First down from the 28-yard line. This is Breida. And Breida never had a chance to get started. Maybe have lost a yard on the play. Cameron Hayward, Terrell Edmonds on the tackle. And you see what they've done their first 2 possessions today.
Well, they put together some yards. They're actually sitting over 60 yards in those 2 possessions, but it's a big sack, a fumble that they recovered on their own, and then, of course, the interception that happened on that first drive.
18! On 2nd and 11. Garoppolo got it away. It's tipped and intercepted. This is Minkah Fitzpatrick, newly acquired and making his mark. Fresh onto the Steelers from the Miami Dolphins. And as soon as that move was made, Mike Tomlin said, he's our starting free safety.
Keep an eye coming off the edge. That's where the pressure comes after the play fake. He has to throw the ball early. Garoppolo wants to sit in there and wait longer, but because that pressure coming in, throws the ball earlier than he wants to, tries to anticipate. Another tipped ball that gets intercepted, giving the Steelers great field position once again.
Bud Dupree applying the pressure. Second turnover of the day for the 49ers. 4:44 to play in the first. First down, Pittsburgh at the San Francisco 24. Quick pass to the outside. James Washington out of bounds. Do tipped passes keep quarterbacks awake at night?
Yes, they do. They do. It's one of those things you don't have any control over. And defensive coordinator for the 49ers, Robert Saleh, is got his hands full now with the field position that he's been dealt with. But I love the expression that they like to use on defense. It's all gas, no break. They like to be aggressive and get upfield.
James Conner just inside the 15. One more thing on Minkah Fitzpatrick. In our production meeting with him, he's a big reader, and Melanie Collins asked him, what's he reading these days? He said the playbook.
Nothing but the playbook. That's all he's focused on right now. His teammates have been very impressed with how quickly he's been able to pick up the defense, been able to pick up the signals, and have that communication. They said, listen, everything's not going to go perfect today. There's going to be some of that miscommunication. He goes, whether we're right or wrong, as long as we're all right and we're all wrong, everybody's on the same page. They were on that last pass play where Fitzpatrick got the interception.
First down, Pittsburgh at the 13. Rudolph, end zone, incomplete. Juju Smith-Schuster, the intended receiver. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Well, I love the comment that Mike Tomlin said, you know, what's it going to be like not having Roethlisberger out there? You and Ben have been together so much. How's this team going to respond? And he looked at us and he said, this is the opportunity to define the word team. It's going to take everybody. This is not all on Mason Rudolph. It's on the offensive line, running backs, receivers, the defense, getting field position, getting turnovers. This will define how you move as a team moving forward.
Rudolph, little screen for Conner. Conner to about the 8. And it'll be 3rd down and about 5, it appears. We'll call it 3rd and 6. Yeah, Mike Tomlin Look, we've seen him pretty focused and pretty determined. I'm not sure we've seen him any more than that than we did yesterday.
Yeah, he had a real bounce to his step. He had an attitude and a bounce and felt good about this football team. He knows there's obviously sitting at 0-2 is not where you want to be. But you can see that message is coming through to his team as the way they've started off here today.
3rd and 6. Rudolph under pressure, escapes, and back to about the line of scrimmage. DeForest Buckner making the tackle.
Pressure coming off the edges that force Rudolph to step up into the pocket. Not much space to move there. If you think about it, Greg, the pass plays that we've seen prior to that one have all been quick throws. Quick throws to the outside, the hitches, or the quick screens to the wide receivers. You've allowed the defensive line to get upfield and throw the dump-off screens underneath to their running backs. Hasn't been a lot of sitting in the pocket and holding it. That time at 3rd and 6, he had to hold on to it, and the pressure got to him.
Chris Boswell from 26 yards out. Splits the uprights. 2:04 to play here in the first quarter. 3 points on the board thanks to the interception by the newest Steeler, Minkah Fitzpatrick.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Microsoft Surface and by the all-new 2020 Jeep Gladiator. This seat is reserved for the restless.
The NFL celebrating its 100th season. There are more Pittsburgh Steeler greats than you can shake a stick at. Jerome Bettis and Hines Ward, their Steeler teammates for 8 years, helped Pittsburgh win Super Bowl 40, which was Jerome Bettis' final NFL game. Short kick. Richie James on the run at his own 10-yard line and works his way up the sideline to about the 30. Jordan Dangerfield making the stop, and I don't know if a coach would say that he's gotten off well after the turnovers, Trent, but that's really what's happened with the Niners.
Well, when you consider there's the tip ball in the first series that gets intercepted, the sack up the middle, the drop ball here that the 49ers were able to get back, and of course the last one will be the interception by Fitzpatrick. You couldn't start worse if you're the 49ers, but the good thing for them, if you're Kyle Shanahan, you're saying, listen, we're only down 1 score. We go down here, get a touchdown, all of a sudden we've got the lead considering how bad they've played so far in the first quarter.
This is Mostert, Raheem Mostert. And we check in with Melanie.
Well, Greg, after that interception by Minkah Fitzpatrick, it was hugs and handshakes all around down here. And since training camp, the Steelers DBs have been staying after practice every day to do a specific drill on the jugs machine, where they each have to catch 15 balls from different directions, turned around and over each shoulder. And the defensive key today was to create more possessions for Mason Rudolph. Looks like that drill's paying off so far.
I'd say. Thank you, Melanie. 2nd and 8. Garoppolo on the slant. That is complete to the 45 and a first down. George Kittle with the catch once again. Back to New York, JB and Phil.
Giants with a mobile quarterback.
Yeah, they like it. Daniel Jones on a little keeper, goes around the right end for a 7-yard touchdown run. Off to a great start, running and throwing. Tampa leading the Giants 12-10. Back to Gregory, Trent, and Melanie.
All right, Phil, thank you. This pass downfield and a diving catch is made by Kyle Juszczyk. That's a terrific catch by a fullback out of the backfield.
Well, Juszczyk is Mr. Do Everything for this 49ers team. They line him up everywhere in the backfield as a lead blocker. He's an effective receiver, as we see on this diving catch right here. They also line him up sometimes at tight end or a wingback. He's asked to do multiple things in this offense.
39 yards on the play, and this is Mostert now to the 25.
It's hard for wideouts to make a catch like this, let alone a fullback coming out of the backfield. Incredible catch.
25 seconds left in the first quarter. 49ers have scored in each quarter of each of their first 2 games this season. Unless something magical happens here, they will go scoreless in a quarter for the first time all season. It doesn't look like they're in much of a hurry, although, let's see, they should be able to get this off. And the whistle. And the quarter comes to an end. Turnovers hasn't buried the 49ers at 6-0 Steelers. Now America's favorite kid genius, Sheldon Cooper, is back. Catch the new season premiere, Young Sheldon, at its new time, Thursday at 8, 7 Central, here on CBS. The first quarter numbers as we begin the second here at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara. Mostert and Juszczyk in the backfield.
Double!
Mostert, right side, cuts inside, 10, 15, inside, lost the football. It's loose inside the 10.
Bush
And recovered by
There's a lot of confusion down there.
Devin Bush on the loose ball.
Mostert trying to get extra yards. Looks like Fitzpatrick that knocks it loose. Bud Dupree has a chance. Mad scramble for it. Well, considering coming into this game, the Pittsburgh defense had only 2 takeaways, and so far, 1 play into the second quarter, they've already got 3 on the day.
That will leave them shaking their heads on the San Francisco sideline. Pittsburgh takes over its own 9-yard line. 18 offensive plays by the 49ers, 3 turnovers. Rudolph, the screen, and running room for Vance McDonald, the tight end. Out very close to a first down. In fact, it is a first down at the 19-yard line.
Well, that's how you're going to have to try and beat this defense, and we've seen the Steelers do that quite a bit so far in this game, is the screens and quick throws. When you get an aggressive defense, that's how you've got to attack it, and that time getting some separation from their own goal line.
Pretty simplified stuff with Mason Rudolph so far, don't you think? And don't throw him the whole playbook.
Everything has been very quick in terms of his decision-making, where he's going with the football. It's not a lot of stand back there and make reads and progressions.
Connor to the outside and to about the 23.
James Conner was banged up a little bit a week ago, but when you look at what he did last year, over 1,400 yards of total offense, nearly 1,000 rushing, but was an effective pass catcher coming out of the backfield as well. This season really has been held in check, only averaging 55 yards a game in the first 2 games. Having him back on the field, I know he just went off right there, but having him a part of this offense and helping out Mason Rudolph today is going to be vital.
Jalen Samuels replaces him in the backfield on 2nd and 6. Rudolph with time, throwing, and overthrew his intended receiver, and that was McDonald. McDonald spent 3 years with the 49ers here, 2013 through 2016.
We'll give Sheldon Day credit. The defensive lineman just collapses the pocket, pushes it right back into Mason Rudolph. He has to throw that ball, and he can't really guide through it. See the struggles the Steelers have had on 3rd down throughout the entire season, only 25% the first game, 27% last week. So far today, no conversions on 3rd down.
Third and 6. This time to the near sideline, and that is incomplete, and they won't convert one here. Deontay Johnson, the intended receiver. So Richie James goes back once again for the upcoming punt.
Greg, you just have to give credit to this defense. They've responded now 3 turnovers by their offense, and they've responded and only allowed 6 points on those 3 turnovers.
James at the 23. Dodges out of trouble, breaks it outside, and makes it a decent return as he makes it almost to the 40-yard line. 13:06 to play in the first half. Steelers 6, Niners nothing. A reminder coming up, the Verizon Halftime Report. JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowher Scores and highlights all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. You know, Trent, you tell a coach that you turn the ball over 3 times, he'll basically say, we've lost the game.
Yeah, and the fact their defense has held them to 6 is impressive. But look at what this offense did a week ago. If I'm Garoppolo over on the sidelines, I'm just telling everybody, take a deep breath, let's calm down and do what we do offensively.
He's got his man, Juszczyk. Juszczyk fights his way, still fighting his way to the 40-yard line.
They're going to a hurry-up tempo here, trying to get in some kind of rhythm offensively. Juszczyk with the second catch now, 49 yards receiving. I said it earlier, they asked him to do a lot of different things. Right now he's lined up in the backfield, more of your traditional fullback set, but they move him around.
The fake to Breida, the throw over the middle. Inside the 25 to about the 24-yard line. Marquise Goodwin with the catch, and we have a flag in the backfield.
They're going to get Minkah Fitzpatrick on a hit to Garoppolo.
Personal foul, roughing the passer on the defense, number 39. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
What a job Garoppolo did getting rid of the football just as he was hit.
Well, incredible timing with this play, coming off the play fake and getting his hips turned around and locate the receiver. Had he not gone high, I don't think that's a penalty. I don't think the timing of it was wrong. I think the fact that he went to the head and the neck area of a quarterback, which now they protect quite a bit. Had he gone lower, I thought the timing of it was fine.
First down from the 12. Breida. Spun down. We have a penalty marker in the middle of the field. TJ Watt making the stop.
Holding. Defense. Number 79. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Javon Hargrave, nose tackle. Guilty of the hold. Melanie.
Well, Trent, you were talking about Jimmy Garoppolo. He did exactly what you said. Before he took the field again, he walked down the length of the sideline, patting guys on the back, saying, hey, keep your heads, keep our same mindset. Don't get discouraged. We've got this. He's trying to provide a sense of calm for his offense.
All right, Melanie, thank you. 49ers at the Pittsburgh 7. And Jeff Wilson is in the backfield along with Juszczyk. And Garoppolo wants to call a timeout. 49ers with their second timeout here in the first half, and we'll take a timeout and back in half a minute after this from Pepsi. About 11 and a half minutes to play in the first half, and San Francisco knocking on the door looking for their first points of the day. 3 tight ends on the field for Garoppolo. Play fake, looking for the corner of the end zone, incomplete. Intended for Kittle.
Well, and guess what, Greg? Garoppolo ended up on the ground again. TJ Watt coming off the edge, applying the pressure. He's one-on-one with McGlinchey, and he gets underneath it. Garoppolo threw that ball earlier than he wanted to, just trying to buy some time and get it to the corner. Most of the time down here in the red zone, they're getting Garoppolo out in space. They want him on the move, either after a play action instead of standing back there as a target.
Lost the football. Steelers say they have it. It's unbelievable.
It is. 4 turnovers on the day already.
And another recovery by Devin Bush.
This time it appears to be a missed exchange as we see Garoppolo. The ball hits the bottom hand. He never gets control of it, and Bush recovers it.
This is a nightmare for Kyle Shanahan.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon, the network more people rely on. FanDuel. This season, there's more ways to win on FanDuel. And by Domino's. Order online and track your order.
Right in the middle of that picture, Joe and Rose Castellano, the parents of our statistician here in the booth, Joe Castellano, enjoying the view.
Greg, if it's me, I'm taking a shot up the field here. Everything's been short. Air it out.
Under pressure, just barely got it away out of the end zone. 2nd and 10. The turnovers, easily the story of this game.
Well, you consider the 49ers haven't had very many turnovers, and coming into this game, all of a sudden, here they are. They're only down 6 points, but 4 turnovers in the first quarter and a half. Not the type of day that Kyle Shanahan wanted to have in the home opener.
I don't know which is the more unbelievable stat, the fact that there's only 6 points off the turnovers, or that there have been 4 turnovers. 2nd and 10. Rudolph over the middle, incomplete. It'll be 3rd and 10. Xavier Grimble, the tight end, in his 4th year out of USC, as Vance McDonald has a shoulder injury and is sidelined right now.
Well, we already touched on the fact the Steelers' woes on 3rd down the first 2 weeks of the season. So far today, 0 for 4. Here you are, 3rd and 10, down on your own 7-yard line.
Hey, heavy tighten.
Not making it any easier on yourself.
And critical, Mike Tomlin said, got to continue to move the ball. Rudolph 0 for his last 4. Lots of time, running out of time now, out of the end zone and out to about the 8-yard line.
Excellent pressure by the 49ers defense. It doesn't end up getting a sack because he gains yardage, but coming into this game, six different players with the 7 sacks coming in. So it's coming from all different angles, different combinations. Great coverage up the field by the 49ers allows the pressure to take place.
Penalty marker is down as Berry's punt travels out to Richie James. James escapes 1 tackler and across the 45 to about the 47. Let's go back and check the flag. And they're going to check with Kyle Shanahan on this one.
Could be an illegal formation by the Steelers.
Legal shift on the offense. 2 men set, were moving and did not set. That penalty will be added to the dead ball spot. 1st down. Timeout.
So 10:37 to play here in the first half. 6-0 Pittsburgh. There's Ryan Shazier, 3 seasons ago, severely injured. And it's a miracle that he's even walking around again, Trent, and was at the time as talented a linebacker as there was in the National Football League.
And was really the main spark plug and leader of that defense. You talk to anybody in that organization at the time that he was playing, and just the presence that he brought to the huddle, the leadership that he brought in the locker room. And as you said, Greg, it's great to see him up and moving around.
It is. That quick pass over the middle to Dante Pettis, complete. We go to Melanie.
Well, guys, I was just chatting with Ryan Shazier down here on the Steelers sideline. He's been heavily involved so far today, working very closely with the rookie Devin Bush, who already has 2 fumble recoveries on the day. He told me he's just tried to be a support system and resource without overloading him. As for Shazier, he told me he's feeling great. He had a big smile on his face. Great to see him doing so well and still being so heavily involved with this team.
You're right, Melanie. It is great to see him up and around and active. 2nd and 2. Garoppolo under pressure, got it away, it's complete. This is Breida up the sideline and out of bounds at about the 26-yard line. That's a 1st down for 49ers.
It's a clear and distinctive plan today by the Steelers defense to make sure they're hitting Jimmy Garoppolo. They don't want him to get comfortable in the pocket. I can't tell you how many times he's been on the ground today, but the amount of pressure he's been under and the hits he's taken. Now that time they leave Breida completely wide open in the flat, but they're going to make sure that Garoppolo feels it at the end of the day.
This is Breida. And Breida to about the 22. Trent, you and I were talking during the timeout. You don't see very many games where a team turns the ball over 4 times, but the fact that Pittsburgh has only been able to put 6 points on the board off of those turnovers is amazing, and a tremendous credit to the 49er defense. That pass is batted back at Garoppolo, incomplete, and that was T.J. Watt in on the San Francisco quarterback.
Well, you can see the defense has been prepared. That's what the 49ers like to do. They like multiple different formations, play action. They get half rolls, they get full rolls, they get the bootlegs. A lot of times, this time it's more of a naked bootleg where there's nobody backside. You're just trying to commit the entire defense without pulling a guard or a lineman to be that front presence. Take a look at Keith Butler there and the defensive plan they had coming into today's game.
Another one of those. 3rd down, 3rd and 6. With time, over the middle, complete. Close to the 10-yard line to George Kittle. And a 49er first down.
Really enjoyed our conversation with George Kittle yesterday, and just the type of energy that he brings, the talent that he brings to the field. A year ago, led the entire NFL in yards after catch. On this catch, he had no chance to get yards after catch. Great presence as Fitzpatrick comes in with the big hit.
Good job of holding on to the football. Kittle now 5 catches for 48 yards. Jeff Wilson in the backfield. This is Wilson. Inside the 10, and a flag comes flying in.
Holding. Offense. Number 75. 10-yard penalty. First down.
That's the left guard, Laken Tomlinson. We get many more flags, we might get a tweet from Tom Brady.
Well, and yes, exactly right. And the thing with the 49, I mean, we've touched quite a bit about the turnovers they've had, 4 turnovers, but even the one that they didn't turn the ball over, the pitch that was dropped by Mostert and then recovered by the 49ers, it just seems like every time they have some positive things going, there's a negative, and this time the penalty moves them back to 1st and 20.
First 49er penalty of the day.
18!
Little shovel pass, loose ball.
That's an
incomplete pass. So it'll be 2nd down. I think we saw a fair share of this in practice on Friday, Trent.
Yeah, and I've touched on the fact when the Steelers have the ball, how they're getting the ball out of Mason Rudolph's hands quickly because of the amount of pressure he's under. You want to get it out of your hands. You can see the amount of pressure that Garoppolo's been under the entire day. They decided to go to something like a quick hitter in the middle of the line, and that time just not able to get the completion.
2nd and 20.
18! What's that?
Garoppolo this side, and that is complete and out of bounds goes Breida at about the 16-yard line. So Garoppolo and the 49ers looking at a 3rd and 15.
Well, this is where if you're Jimmy Garoppolo, you have to be smart with the football. I know you want to be aggressive, you want to get it into the end zone, but as you said, Greg, 3rd and 15, you're already in field goal range. You have a kicker like Robbie Gould. You're only down 6. Be smart with your decision making.
Raheem Mostert in the backfield and joined now. Mostert to about the 6. They'll be about 5 yards short of a first down, and here comes Robbie Gould. And John Kondo, who is the new addition to special teams this week, is the long snapper.
Well, Robbie Gould's just been unbelievably consistent throughout his entire career. But anytime you bring a new holder into the mix, even though Kondo has had a long and lengthy career, successful career, long time with the Oakland Raiders, anytime you bring someone new into this mix, it makes it interesting.
From 24 yards, and that is perfect.
Nothing interesting about that one. Nicely done.
6:45 to play in the first half. And the 49ers check into the board at 6-3, and let's check in with Melanie.
Well, Greg, newly acquired long snapper John Kondo had a bit of a time layoff between playing for the Falcons in December and joining the 49ers this week. So if you're wondering how he stayed sharp over the last 9 months, well, he was snapping the ball to his wife Jacqueline in their North Bay backyard. She's been holding up a seat cushion as a target, and she simulated situations in which the punter was offset. He said it was like a golf swing. He just needed the muscle memory, so it's important to keep the snaps going. Big shout out to Jacqueline Kondo for keeping him sharp.
I'll say.
That was smart on her part to hold like a pad to try and knock the ball down as opposed to trying to catch it.
John Kondo in his 14th season out of Maryland.
Well, if you're the 49ers, you have to feel, I'm not going to say good because you don't want to be losing a game at any point in time, but when you're -4 in turnovers and you're only down 3 halfway through the second quarter, you've got to feel positive about that.
Switzer will not run this one out of the end zone. The touchback will start the Steelers at the 25. Look at this. Meet Zoe. Zoe's a French bulldog, is also the San Francisco 49ers emotional support dog, which is a first for any NFL team. The league has recently made the mental health of its players a top priority, and Niners defensive end Solomon Thomas played a major role in the team adopting Zoe as she helped Thomas after the tragic death of his older sister Ella last year. Good for Zoe. Zoe needs a jersey.
Well, I'm going to go back to what I said the last series. You've got to take a shot. So far, the longest pass play has been 10 yards. I know you're trying to protect Mason Rudolph, but at some point in time, you got to make the defense respect the deep ball.
Connor goes nowhere. In fact, he lost yardage. In time for an update once again. JP, Phil Simms.
The opportunistic Saints.
Yes, they had a punt return for a touchdown early in the game. This time, Chris Carson's running the football. Eli Apple punches it out. Von Bell picks it up and goes 33 yards for a touchdown. That puts the Saints up 13-7 over Seattle. Back to Greg, Trent, and Melanie.
All right, Phil, thank you. Connor again. And Connor with a little room across the 25 to about the 27-yard line. Well, another anomaly with this far into the game, the Pittsburgh Steelers 2 first downs.
Well, and we talked to Mike Tomlin. I said, what's the problem with the run game? The Pittsburgh Steelers have had a reputation of running the football for a number of years. He said the problem with our run game is we're not converting third downs. In order to get the running game going, you've got to convert third downs and stay on the field and get into a rhythm from a blocking standpoint. They have yet to convert a third down today. They're sitting at a 3rd and 8 again on this one, or 3rd and 7. Now with an empty backfield.
Rudolph going across the middle. That's complete to Deontay Johnson. And Johnson very close to a first down at the 35. It is a first down. It's one of those rare first downs Mike Tomlin was looking for.
Well, and look at the Steelers are going hurry up. They're getting on the line of scrimmage, calling the play at the line. Richard Sherman had a chance to make the tackle.
Sure.
Connor for about 2. When we talked to Mason Rudolph, I thought he was very cool and calm and collected considering the shoes he has to fill at quarterback.
Thought he had a very good grasp of it. I think the guys that we've talked to, the coaches that we talked to, said that he's someone that puts in the time and the effort. They're excited about this opportunity for him, but the guys around him need to start performing a little bit better, especially with the pass protection and the run game to provide some balance for him.
Connor out, Samuels in, move reverse. Johnny Holton going around the left side, gets some running room and gets a first down. Across the 45 to about the 46-yard line, Richard Sherman coming up to make the stop.
When you get a fast-flowing, aggressive defense, you try some misdirection. This time a handoff to the right, flips it back for the reverse, coming around left. Holton with tremendous speed is able to pick up the first down.
Did you see the block that Mason Rudolph threw? This is Benny Snell, and Snell pulls his way to midfield.
As I touched at the start of this drive, Mike Tomlin said about getting into a rhythm offensively, and getting into a rhythm offensively means converting third downs and keeping things going, and that's what's happened now. They've gotten a couple of first downs. They're getting the ball going. You got it up around midfield. You get the defense thinking about different things. They tried the reverse. Keep the defense guessing instead of keeping it so normal with just the quarterback standing back there by himself.
Snell once again, and for a couple. Just to put it in perspective, since the start of the 2016 season, NFL teams who were -4 or worse in turnovers are 0-45-1. You have a distinct advantage when you get that many turnovers. And yet, 49ers are down just 3. 3rd and 4.
I still would take a shot downfield. At some point in time, you got to test the defense. You can't just go for the sticks every time, whether it be on 3rd down or 1st down with short throws.
Going to tuck it in and run and get the 1st down as he goes inside the 45 to about the 42-yard line.
.6'5", 235. First read's not open. There's a gap in the middle. Go ahead and take off, and takes a little bit of a shot there from Witherspoon.
Last season was the season that all those young quarterbacks were drafted that you heard about. Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, Josh Rosen, Lamar Jackson. Rudolph was drafted in the 3rd round, starting here for the Steelers today. 2 minutes to play in the first half.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Experian. Raise your credit scores instantly with Experian Boost. And by Progressive, making it easy to bundle your home and car insurance.
Well, you're looking at 49er greats, maybe the greatest receiver of all time, Jerry Rice, MVP of Super Bowl 23, out on the field, doing what he always did, catching passes and scoring touchdowns. Looks like he's in playing shape too, doesn't he?
He does. He keeps himself in great shape.
1st down. From the 42. Play action for Rudolph, and that pass is incomplete. Broken up by Richard Sherman. We talked to Richard Sherman on Friday. He said, "How's your day? You tired?" He gets a Veterans Day off on Fridays.
Said it's well deserved. A lot of veterans take Wednesday off, but he said he'd rather have it closer to game day. Steelers now still need to get some yardage here. They're not in field goal range yet.
5-4.
San Francisco with 1 timeout left. Pittsburgh with all 3 of theirs. Rudolph throws the other way. And that is complete to Deontay Johnson. By the way, Dante Moncrief not in this game, and Mike Tomlin made it very definitive as to why.
Well, too many drop balls, and he said, listen, I've had conversations with him the last few weeks, and he said, quite simply, he's not meeting expectations, so we're going to give some other guys opportunities. Moncrief not dressed today, but here the Steelers have a critical 3rd down, 3rd and 4.
They need the 32-yard line for a 1st down. Rudolph under pressure and going down at about the 40-yard line. The ball came loose, and he's going to be marked down before the ball came out. Dee Ford coming in for the sack.
Dee Ford coming over from the Kansas City Chiefs. He comes off the right edge. 49ers made the trade for Dee Ford and got him signed. That time, there was some question whether Ford was going to play today because he missed some time during the week with the knee injury, some swelling in his knee. We saw him practice on Friday. Still weren't sure if he was going to be able to go. That time showing tremendous speed coming around the edge.
So we have a timeout on the field with 58 seconds remaining in the first half. I want to remind you, coming up, the Verizon Halftime Report, JB and Phil and Nate and Boomer and the coach. NFL scores and highlights coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. So Jordan Berry. Set to kick it away. And Richie James will just let this one bounce. And it's into the end zone for the touchback. Well, Jimmy Garoppolo, they have been going after him big time.
Well, there was a clear plan today. He's only been sacked one time. That was the one sack there, but they have put him on the ground. There has been a hit to the head right here. He goes too high. Actually, it was a Fitzpatrick hit earlier on where they went high and got it for a hit around the head. But look at that, 21 dropbacks, 6 knockdowns. Trying to affect, that's when you do that, it's like the boxer with the body shots, right? You're trying to get in their head, and right now with the amount of times that Garoppolo's been on the ground, they're trying to wear him down so that hopefully can take advantage of it in the second half.
Hard to find a quarterback who likes that.
Oh no, there's no one that likes that.
49ers have no timeouts remaining. That quick pass to the far side. And Dante Pettis can't get out of bounds to stop the clock and continues to move 40 seconds and counting.
Joe Hayden with a great tackle there. It's keeping him from going out of bounds.
Joe Hayden in his 10th season. Former Florida Gator.
Steelers sitting on 3 timeouts. I'm surprised they didn't call the timeout. Based on where the field position is, they could have gotten the ball around midfield with a little bit of time left, but instead, just letting this thing wind down and get to halftime.
And this looks like this will be the last play of the first half, and it is. And the action comes screeching to a halt. 3 field goals in the first half. And Pittsburgh with 2 of them. 6-3 Steelers at halftime. And our halftime is next after these first half highlights from Verizon and a word from your local station. Welcome back to Santa Clara. At Levi's Stadium, we are at halftime, where the Pittsburgh Steelers hold a 6-3 lead over the San Francisco 49ers. And here in the stadium, ceremonies honoring Terrell Owens, who has just been placed into the San Francisco 49ers Hall of Fame. Let's take a look at the first half highlight presented by DirecTV. And Jimmy Garoppolo on the pass, and newly acquired Minkah Fitzpatrick got the ricochet for his first interception as a Pittsburgh Steeler. It is a 6-3 game as we welcome you back, Greg Gumbel, along with Trent Green. It's been a weird game. There's been no particular flow. Anytime anyone got going, the 49ers turned it over.
Well, that was the big problem for the 49ers. You look at, they had over 200 yards of offense. They moved the ball up and down the field, but when they got into position, it was mistakes. You talk about the 4 turnovers. There was untimely sacks. There was one big sack that knocked them back in a long down and distance. Then, of course, the fumble on the Pitts to Mostert. They did get the ball back, but that killed that drive. All of a sudden, you go from a 1st and 10 to 2nd and 25. So we take a look at the stats. You see it's completely lopsided except for the turnover battle.
Got to wonder what the coaches are saying in the locker room at the break. Hey, let's hold on to the football.
Why, if you're the 49ers coaches and if you're Jimmy Garoppolo, you're just telling everybody to calm down, relax. Let's look at this as we're down 3 points. We've turned the ball over way too much. We're moving the football. Let's just protect the football and do what we've done in the previous 2 games. And if you're the Steelers, you're saying, listen, we got to take advantage of these opportunities when they come around.
And you look at that number there. If you're a coach and they tell you ahead of time that you're going to be -4 and still be in the football game, that just doesn't seem to make sense.
It doesn't, and that's the thing that we were talking about here at halftime. It's just the fact you're -4 in turnovers, and it's a 3-point game. So if you're the 49ers, just keep things calm and do what you've been planning for all week.
Down to Melanie Collins.
Well, you guys mentioned the lack of flow in the first half. Kyle Shanahan told me, look, we just had a few tip balls, a few fumbles. We just have to start extending drives offensively. He said our defense is playing their butts off, and he's happy with Justin Skule at left tackle. Meanwhile, Mike Tomlin said, we've just got to start converting 3rd downs and getting Mason Rudolph into a rhythm.
Kind of an extension of what Mike Tomlin told us yesterday. Convert some 3rd downs. Pittsburgh The pitch for Deontay Johnson, and Johnson trying to turn the corner on the left side. Knocked out of bounds just across the 30-yard line.
And Greg, I said it multiple times in the first half, and I'm going to keep saying it until they finally do it. I think at some point in time you have to try and stretch the defense. The defense right now is anchored in there. I know you're trying to protect your first-time starter in Mason Rudolph by giving him quick throws, giving him screen throws, getting the ball out of his hands quickly. But at some point in time, you've got to throw a ball, even if it's incomplete, just to stretch the defense and know that you can throw it down there.
Or that you will.
Yes.
2nd and 4. This is Connor. And Connor with a first down. In the first half for the Pittsburgh Steelers. 3 punts, 2 field goals.
And what it doesn't show is the starting field position. I mean, they had great field position because of the turnovers and taking advantage of it. I know some of them were the 49ers had moved down into scoring position and they got the ball down deep in their own territory, but they weren't able to take advantage of some of those opportunities when they had it.
Yeah, both teams had their chances on offense and failed to convert. Meanwhile, that pass to the sideline is complete to James Washington. There is a connection that has happened before. Mason Rudolph to James Washington. Both Oklahoma State products, and we have a flag on the field.
Ineligible player, legally downfield on the offense, number 78. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's the left tackle, Alejandro Villanueva. You know, Mason Rudolph had just about every passing record you can possibly own in his career at Oklahoma State University, and James Washington was a big part of that.
Well, and we talked to him. We said when, he made a concerted effort to spend more time with the other receivers just because he knows, he's like, listen, I can take a ball anytime I want with Washington. We can go out there and be on the same page. It's like, I got to make sure I build the confidence of the other guys.
Rudolph going to stretch the field just for Trent Green, and it's incomplete.
And I'm good with that. You got to throw it up there and just let them know so they're not sitting at the chain. The defensive backs, they'll start getting the tendency to start sitting at the chains. They're going to sit. They're not going to go 5 yards past the chain. So you'll start getting defensive backs to sit that way. And I like the fact that they went after Witherspoon over on that left side because Witherspoon the last couple weeks has been aggressive in jumping some underneath routes. So if he's given some time, if Mason Rudolph is given some time, look for a double move as this game develops. And if they do that, I would think they're going to try to attack Witherspoon with that.
Hey, 5-4.
Here's a 2nd and 15. Rudolph under pressure, trying to break away, throws it, it's intercepted. Picked off by Quan Williams. Rudolph was under heavy pressure as he rolled to the near side of the field.
Excellent job by Rudolph as he escapes the pocket. You're going to see the initial pressure. He steps up. He's looking to his right. He gets to the outside. The problem is he's looking back, freeze it. He was looking back to his left. We're too late there. He's looking back to his left, and Quan Williams was out in front. The problem is Williams was over on the sideline as he's looking at the back, as he's looking at the receiver coming from left to right. Williams has nowhere to go except track the eyes of Mason Rudolph, and that's why he was able to collapse right into it. Rudolph's got to see him if he's throwing the ball that direction.
So the 49ers get a turnover of their own here on their 5th pick of the year. Matt Breida in the backfield as the 49ers have a chance at the Steeler 38. Breida to the 33-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 5. Last year, the 49ers grabbed just 2 interceptions all season long. And they have 5 in the first 2.5 games here.
And you know what defensive coaches and defensive players say all the time? What helps out interceptions is pressure on the quarterback. And that's exactly what the 49ers have been able to do, is get pressure on the quarterback, which is causing many of those interceptions.
The pitch for Breida. Breida picks his way to a first down. To about the 27-yard line, T.J. Watt with the stop. mentioned it in the first half. Breida is one of those guys. He doesn't need much room. He can outrun about everybody on the field.
Well, not only the speed, but he's coming into this game averaging 7 yards a carry. And it's, the Steelers have done a good job as far as not letting him get those big runs. His longest run of the day is just 8 yards. So they haven't given up the big run, but they've been able to provide balance. He has Breida and Mostert to allow the passing game to take place.
This is Mostert. And Mostert just inside the 25-yard line, brought down by Tuitt. They'll give him 3, and it'll be 2nd and 7. Yeah, for the most part, both offenses have been pretty conservative today.
We haven't seen a lot down the field. You're right. It's been a lot of quick throws. I tell you, that's some of the concern with the respect they have for the pressure that both these defenses bring, especially off the edge.
Garoppolo, Mostert out of the backfield, couldn't connect. That's incomplete. It'll be 3rd and 7.
That's a difficult throw. If you're a quarterback and you're trying to roll out to your left and you've got pressure. See Dupree right there in his face. It's hard to get your body turned around and get it out in front.
Very few straight drops for Jimmy Garoppolo.
There have been. And Kyle Shanahan talked to us about that on Friday, and just the fact they don't want him standing back there. That's why everything ties together with the run game, the half rolls, the nakeds, the bootlegs, rollouts.
3rd and 7 over the middle. He's got his man to the 10, to the 5, down to about the 3-yard line is Kendrick Bourne.
He's going to be lined up in the right slot. Garoppolo, accurate throw, just one-on-one in the middle of the field with Hayden.
22-yard pickup on Bourne's first catch of the day. And now 1st and goal from the 3. Juszczyk and Jeff Wilson in the backfield. Wilson hit at the 5, forward to the line of scrimmage. And once again, Stephon Tuitt, who has made his presence felt on defense today.
Tuitt's been a force in the middle of the Steelers' defensive line for a number of years, and whether it's getting sacks on the quarterback or pressure in the running game, he just swims the offensive tackle and splits the tight end and gets into the backfield.
2nd and goal.
Back. Hey, fire!
Fakes the pitch, shovel pass to Juszczyk to about the 1. First red zone trip today, the 49ers settled for a field goal. 3rd and goal here.
Juszczyk comes back in. 3rd and 1. They've used him in a number of different ways here. You could use him as a lead blocker, but they also like leaking him out into the flat. So just a play fake up the middle and sneaking him out into the flat. This time lead blocking.
Wilson with the touchdown.
Watch the blocks that's going to take place. Number 1, kicking out, coming back over here, kicking out, and then it's going to be the counter and follow right behind their blockers. Mostert, excellent job. You see the fake, you see the kick out.
That's exactly how you draw it up, isn't it?
That's the timing of it. You saw the motion of the receiver coming across, nearly was snapped too soon with him getting in the way of Garoppolo.
The extra point is perfect. 9:17 to play. And off the turnover, the interception thrown by Rudolph, and the 49ers put 7 on the board. 8-play, 38-yard drive has the 49ers on top by a 10-6 score. This is Johnny Holton on the run inside his own 5-yard line. Comes to a stop and goes down just across the 20, out to about the 23. Well, we talked about iconic franchises in the history of the National Football League. In the 70s, Pittsburgh won 4 Super Bowls, won 99 games in all. And then along came the 49ers in the 80s, winning 4 Super Bowls as well. They won 104. And they stand alone as the only teams to win 4 Super Bowls in the same decade.
2 incredible dynasties and represented very well all those teams in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah. So let's see how Mason Rudolph answers. Quick pass incomplete. Through the hands of his intended receiver. It'll be 2nd and 10. He was aiming for James Washington.
Well, that's always a test for a young quarterback, really any quarterback, but a young quarterback making his first start. How are you going to respond after having your real first adversity of the game with the interception, and comes out right there, plants that foot and fires it in there, doesn't get the completion, but wasn't any hesitation with the decision or the throw.
This is Connor. They try to get the ground game going, and I imagine, Trent, just as important as how he responds is how do you call the plays for him? How do you reestablish that confidence?
Well, you just have to. You can't all of a sudden go into panic mode and pull back. You got to, especially with the fact that they've only got 6 points off of those 4 turnovers in the first half. You still got to find ways to generate first down and get points. They've gotten a little bit better on 3rd down, 2 of 8 after missing their first 5 3rd down opportunities. So 2 of their last 3 as they try and get lined up here on 3rd and 6. 3rd and 5.
Rudolph started the game 6 of 8 throwing, is now 2 of his last 10 with a pick. Under pressure, just as he let go, it's incomplete, and there's a penalty marker on the far side of the field.
Legal formation on the offense. That penalty's declined. 4th down.
Bosa coming off the edge, Buckner coming up the middle. Pressure coming from everywhere.
So the Steelers' 3rd 3 and out. Richie James is deep for the punt. Driving James back inside his 15-yard line, up the sideline. Dodges back and is down at about the 25 or the 26-yard line with 8:09 to play in the 3rd quarter. 49ers with the lead.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. McCafe Premium Roast Coffee. Good is brewing. And by Amazon Prime. One-day delivery on millions of items with Prime.
A look inside the 49ers Hall of Fame that first opened back in 2009, honoring some of the great players, coaches, and executives in the team's history, including the newcomer Terrell Owens. Terrell Owens knows something we don't know. It's like 85 degrees out. He's wearing a turtleneck.
He doesn't appear to be sweating, so yeah, he must have known.
Yet. Garoppolo going to go deep. Down the middle of the field it is. Caught! And incomplete. Deebo Samuel looked like he had it for a moment.
Well, for a moment, it looked like Joe Hayden was in perfect position from the backside, getting in position to make the interception. Samuel comes over and appears to take it away from him.
Oh, he had it too. Oh.
Wow, let's see if they're going to challenge that. 1, 2, connects the ground, and it comes out when he hits his back, hits the ground.
And Mike Tomlin
Timeout.
called a timeout.
Pittsburgh. First charge of the 2nd half. Timeout on the field.
I don't know. I don't think that's enough to overturn it. Even with this extra time, I don't think Kyle Shanahan throws the challenge flag.
Just under 8 minutes to play in the 3rd. 10-6. 49ers with the lead and the football. And Kyle Shanahan trying to inject more offense on the field, and Mike Tomlin trying to say no.
Well, and even with the extra time after Tomlin and the Steelers called timeout, Kyle Shanahan, his coaching staff, didn't feel the need to throw the red flag and get it reviewed any further.
What do you think that reason for the timeout was?
But they obviously didn't have the personnel in the game that they wanted, but it's not like the clock had been winding down.
This is Breida, and Breida almost broke free at the 30-yard line. Let's go back to that long pass to Deebo Samuel and bring in our rules guru, Gene Steratore. What do you think, Gene?
You know, guys, with the way the catch has kind of been squeezed a little more, where we have 2 feet there, now we have a tuck, and then we have to have that third element, the third step, or some type of a football move. This is really close to that third element of him tucking that football right there before it comes loose. It's really, really close.
Hold on, Gene. Quick pass incomplete through the hands of Kendrick Bourne. So Trent asked the question before that if that had been ruled a catch, did you see enough to overturn that?
I think the play, as far as what I've seen right now, is we would say a stands play. You know, whatever they ruled on the field, I don't think there is enough on either end of that to overturn it. So the ruling of incomplete, I don't think we have enough there to take it to being a catch, and I think the opposite would apply. I think Trent makes a great point.
All right, Gene, don't tell him that. It'd be impossible to live with.
I love to hear it. I love to hear it.
49ers just had their first 3 and out of the season. Ryan Switzer chasing this kick, and fair catch is called for and made at about the 17-yard line. So 7:13 to play here in the third quarter, and always nice to get Gene Steratore's input.
It is. It's great to have him in it and just get those rules clarifications. You know, we had talked about the fact whatever it was called on the field, there wasn't enough to overturn it. So because it was called incomplete on the field, they weren't going to overturn it. And it was great to have Gene get in that conversation, talk to us about the third move, finishing the catch to the ground. There wasn't that third move. Now, had it been called, you asked the question, had it been called a completion, was it enough to overturn? So just being able to get that type of clarification is great. And Gene is so clear with his explanation.
That play goes nowhere. Did you see our spotter, Mike Gluck, clear out like a 911 call came in?
He was scared of being on air, I think. It was just like, wait a second, I got to get some FaceTime here. So that's as fast as you've moved in a long time.
Mike's a resident of Buffalo, New York. You can't find many people happier than he is these days.
He was jumping around a little bit with those early games, that's for sure.
2nd and 9. Rudolph with the screen. And James Conner. Tough yards for James Conner today as we check into New York once again, JB and Phil.
Greg, a sterling giant pass.
Oh, what a start for Daniel Jones. 7-yard pass to Sterling Shepard, gives him a touchdown. He's 17-25 in his first start, 265 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tampa Bay up on the Giants, 28-25. Back to Gregory, Trent, and Melanie.
Phil Simms, thank you very much. You too, JB. 3rd and 4.
Well, it sounds like Daniel Jones is having a heck of a day for the Giants, even though they trailed. Steelers need Mason Rudolph to get things going in this passing game.
Rudolph on the move, a strike to Juju Smith-Schuster up the sideline, and there he goes.
Well, I'd say he got things going, Greg.
76 yards, no flags.
You can't fault the 49ers for having bad coverage there. They were in excellent position. It's just hard to defend the perfect pass. Mason Rudolph in stride, right on the face mask. And then that speed just takes over. See the offensive line happy for him?
Until that play.
Smart quarterback decision. Go hug your lineman first.
Until that play, Pittsburgh had 99 total yards, 76 in one chunk. And Rudolph with his 3rd touchdown pass of the season. Boswell for the extra point. And it's good. 5 minutes, 42 seconds to play. In the third quarter, Mason Rudolph in stride to Juju Smith-Schuster, and he does the rest.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by AARP, Real Possibilities. And by the Home Depot, more saving, more doing.
A look at Alcatraz Island, also known as The Rock. Located in the middle of San Francisco Bay. Richie James deep. And this one goes beyond the end zone. Let's go back to that touchdown.
Well, just going to be a bunch formation to the right for Mason Rudolph, and it's important to watch the release. So the point man is going to go on a drag. Outside guy is going to outside release and do a deep dig. But it's the inside receiver that comes up. That's Juju who's going to make the catch. See the release point? Actually, he had two guys open. He could have hit the dig on the backside. And then a poor angle by the safety. Juju Smith-Schuster able with that speed to get to the sideline, and then it's just a race that the Steelers aren't going to lose.
Here's Raheem Mostert right up the middle. Still on his feet. And finally down at about the 33-yard line. Terrell Edmonds making the stop. What a great feeling that must be for the young quarterback, huh?
Well, it is, especially considering the way the first half went and just not getting a lot of yards and not getting touchdowns after those turnovers. So that will help his confidence moving forward. Actually, the whole offense will help the confidence move forward.
Mostert again, very close to a first down at the 35. It looks like they'll spot it just short, and it'll be 3rd and inches.
Well, just like second down, now here on third down, they're going to get up on the ball quick, try and get a snap.
Looked like a little confusion on the defense. But it's a first down for San Francisco.
Looks like they're going to try and keep that same tempo. More of a muddle huddle where you're calling the play. Not in a full 2-minute mode, but just getting things called at the line of scrimmage.
Garoppolo over the middle and wide open. He's got his man at the 45, and that is Deebo Samuel.
It's going to be a clear out by Goodwin in the middle of the field. He's in the slot. That's what takes the middle of the field defense away and allows Samuel to get into that second window. Good job by Garoppolo off the play fake to get his hips turned around, get his eyes up, and find that location with the accurate throw.
Final 4 minutes of the third quarter. Quarterbacks are beginning to sling it around the field a little bit now.
Can't.
15.
What? 15. 18.
And this is Mostert. Inside the 40 to the Pittsburgh 39. So after turnovers dominated the first half, you look at the numbers for these two quarterbacks. Garoppolo's thrown for more, has more completions.
5-5.
But has also thrown 2 picks.
No. 118. What's that?
On 2nd and 5, this is Breida, and Breida has the first down. Boy, how about the get up and go, that second gear just as he broke through the line of scrimmage.
Well, how about Fitzpatrick? He's only been with the team a few days. He goes in motion with Kittle, and you're thinking, okay, this guy's only been here a few days. He's coming in motion, and yet he blitzed off the edge, off of the motion. Being able to be on the same page in the timing of that, understanding where that was taking place, he nearly broke that play up.
Under that hurry up, Deebo Samuel with the catch and out of bounds short of the 15-yard line. 49ers on a roll on offense. And Garoppolo gets into the line of scrimmage quickly once again. 2.5 to play in the third.
Huh?
Breida spinning to the outside to the 16-yard line. So you're on defense, Trent. How do you slow down an offense that continues to come up to the line and keep going?
Well, you hope you get a guy to run like Breida where you're dancing and you're not just taking it, because Alu came from the backside. Hayden maintained that leverage on the outside, and you know the other defenders are going to be in hot pursuit. So where they've had success running the ball is just downhill, not a lot of dancing, one move and go. That time Breida dancing too much allowed the defense to rally.
On 2nd and 8, Garoppolo under pressure, got rid of it inside the 10. It's complete. Inside the 5 is Pettis. And it'll be 1st and goal.
Garoppolo fortunate to get rid of this ball. Takes a shot. Free defender coming off the edge. Look up top. Edmonds comes free. Ooh, nearly knocks his helmet off. I talked about those body punches that he was taking early in the game.
26.
They're still coming.
He's standing firm right now. We're not even to the 4th quarter yet. He's taking a number of shots today.
1st and goal. This is Wilson. Wilson to the goal line. Touchdown. Jeff Wilson, his 3rd touchdown of the season.
Greg, we made a big issue, and rightfully so, about the tackles coming into this game. Justin Skull, the rookie, taking over for Joe Staley. Right tackle Mike McGlinchey, the 2nd-year player out of Notre Dame. But the interior 3 of Tomlinson, Richburg, and Person, that's where the yards have been coming. What they've been doing to the middle of the defensive line of the Pittsburgh Steelers, the yards, the push in the pile, getting into the end zone, excellent job by those 3 in the middle of that O-line.
At the very beginning of the day, Melanie was talking about the support that Joe Staley was giving Justin School, his replacement. The fact that we haven't talked about him all day is a good thing.
That is a great thing for a left tackle. You want to get through the entire game not being mentioned. And other than the fact he was making this start today.
The previous play is under review.
Other than the fact he's making the start today, we haven't had a chance to mention it a whole lot.
So you heard that play is going to be reviewed. We'll take a break and come back and find out what's what. While we were away, it was confirmed Jeff Wilson did cross the goal line. The touchdown stands, and the 49ers will go for an extra point that would give them a 4-point lead. 3rd lead change of this 3rd quarter. Robbie Gould. And it is good. So 56 seconds remaining here in the 3rd, and the 49ers lead is 17-3. A reminder for you, Saturday, the SEC on CBS features Ole Miss rushing into Tuscaloosa. Upsets on their mind. They challenge Tua and the 2nd-ranked Crimson Tide, and it all kicks off with college football today at 3 Eastern here on CBS. Jeff Wilson is the first player in the history of this team with 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 or more, the first 2 games played. Of course, he added his 3rd. Excuse me, 2 in each of his first 2.
Since 1956. It's a long time.
Hugh McElhenney.
Well, now it's important for Mason Rudolph and offensive coordinator Randy Fiechner to be on the same page, trying to respond to the 49ers score.
This one won't be returned. So we've kind of had 2 different football games here in each half. The first one, defense and turnovers, and second half has been more wide open on offense.
Getting a little more offense going, and we're almost to the 4th quarter, but not quite yet. We talked about our conversations with Tomlin and with offensive coordinator Randy Fiechner about this is not a Mason Rudolph thing. This is we need everybody to do their jobs. Right now, the offensive line hasn't given enough protection for Mason Rudolph to try and push the ball down the field. They've got to get some more of the running game going, establish more of that. And if they're not going to get the running game going, then they've definitely got to give him more protection and more time to throw the ball. He's been under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, Benny Snell is in the backfield. He gets the handoff and is smacked down at the 25-yard line for no gain. Juan Alexander, the outside linebacker, making that stop.
Well, nothing but praise from the players and the 49ers and the coaching staff and personnel for the 49ers about the acquisition and signing of Quan Alexander, what he's brought to the huddle, what he's brought to the locker room and on the field. He's just been a real difference maker for them.
Last 25 seconds of the third quarter. Rudolph under pressure, got rid of it. Little short pop to Xavier Grimble, the tight end. And it'll be 3rd and 7. And they don't appear to be able to get a play off before third quarter expires. We've played 3 here in Santa Clara. The 49ers 17, Pittsburgh 13. We're back after this. Along with our producer, Ken Mack, our director, Suzanne Smith, Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, Melanie Collins, we start the fourth quarter here in Santa Clara with the 49ers leading Pittsburgh by a score of 17-13. Get the feeling, Trent, we haven't seen all there is to see between these two teams yet.
They've got a lot of stuff going on. The turnovers, the
everything.
Excellent play by the defense. Now all of a sudden a couple big plays by quarterbacks. It's
Rudolph to the far side. That is James Washington. Popped out of bounds. Appeared to be just short of a first down.
Well, continued struggles by the Steelers on third down. This is not the time to go for it on fourth down, out on your own 34-yard line, as you see the punting unit coming on the field for the Steelers. Washington just short. There's nothing we can see in any of our replays that challenge the spot of that ball. Yeah, too early to chance it and go for it down in this end of the field.
Once again, Richie James back for the 49ers. James at the 20-yard line and nowhere to go. Maybe a 4-yard return at best, maybe 5. What happened around the National Football League today? Oh, plenty. Patrick Mahomes continues to work his magic. 3 touchdown passes as the Chiefs won that showdown with the Ravens. How about Matt Patricia's Detroit Lions? We saw them in the preseason, Trent. 2-0-1 on the young season. And how about those Buffalo Bills? We saw them a week ago in a win over the Giants. They knocked off the Bengals today to go 3-0.
118! What's up?
This is Breida. And out of bounds short of the 30-yard line. No lack of big-time performers. 374 and 3 TDs from Mahomes.
That's just becoming a normal day for him.
It is.
It's like, oh, that's what he got again.
And by the way, a week ago we were talking about the confidence building in Josh Allen.
Yes, the improved play right there of Josh Allen. He's just much more confident. He's understanding the offense better. He's much more decisive in his drops and his reads and his throws. Big jump from him from last year to this year.
This is Breida. Bouncing off tacklers. We have a flag thrown into the middle of the field. There was some hitting in the middle of that play.
There was.
You could hear it.
I'm trying to figure out the official that just came running from all the way in the back.
Holding. Offense. Number 67. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
So that's Justin School.
Yeah. We gave him the announcer jinx, right?
Only the second penalty of the day called against the 49ers.
School gets to the inside. That's an easy call. Trying to block Hayward.
I think when the jersey's stretched out, that's a giveaway.
And the shoulder pads are exposed. That may be a gimme.
So it's 2nd and 17.
Well, now we know why the official ran in from the back end, because he saw it clearly.
Straight drop for Garoppolo. Looks both ways and now on the move. Pulls it down, slides down. And we have markers down.
Well, there is an enforced rule now with a blindside block that I think they're going to get School on. or at least discuss it. That's why those flags in the backfield. Garoppolo coming off that ACL injury from a year ago. Sliding, but ended up kind of sliding awkwardly with guys jumping on top of him. Appears to be fine.
Personal foul. Illegal blindside block on the offense, number 67. Half the distance to the goal. Second down.
So there it is right there by Justin School on Cameron Hayward.
That's a little borderline. That's not like the straight blind side where you can't see him. There was a little bit of an angle there. I'm a little bit surprised.
Joe Staley says, that's my guy. You can't call that.
A little bit surprised. I mean, I understand that. I mean, that's a rule that they wanted to enforce and they emphasized this year. It's player safety related.
This is Mostert, left side, going nowhere down at 12.
But I took more of those blind sides as you know, like a change of possession, a special teams play or something like that where the guy doesn't see it. That was almost at an angle.
Gene Steratore, Trent says that was iffy. Do you agree?
The other thing you have to remember now, guys, is if he's blocking back towards his own goal line or parallel, then it'll be a blind side as well. So it's the blocking back toward his goal line where they're getting him for this, guys.
All right, that clears it up because, yeah, I was thinking, you know, Hayward had a chance to see him. It was at enough of an angle that he could have seen him, but as you just cleared up for us, Gene, if you're going back towards your goal line, which School obviously was going back towards his goal line, then that was an easy call.
Mostert not close to a first down, and so the 49ers will have to kick it away, and the Steelers will get the ball back again. And that is Ahkello Witherspoon, the San Francisco cornerback, going off on a cart. Mitch Wisnowski to kick it. And Ryan Switzer at the 28. There's a flag thrown in, and he is tackled back at about the 25-yard line by Emmanuel Mosley.
Well, with Witherspoon down, we're now getting an opportunity to see Jason Verrett. Came over to the 49ers. When he's healthy, he's as good as anybody in the league.
During the kick, holding, receiving team, number 80. 10-yard penalty. First down.
That penalty is on Johnny Holton with 11:18 to play here in the fourth quarter. 17-13 Niners. 11 minutes, 18 seconds to play in the fourth quarter. San Francisco with the 17-13 lead, and the Pittsburgh Steelers back on offense. They had a 76-yard touchdown play. On the other 41 plays, they've got 108 total yards. James Conner finds a way, finds a hole, and breaks it out almost to the 30-yard line. Let's go back to that touchdown pass to Juju Smith-Schuster.
Well, we're going to get a great look at it here. You see the separation. You see the pressure that Mason Rudolph is under. He steps into the throw. If you remember back, he places it right on the face mask. And then the poor angle of the safety, that allows Juju Smith-Schuster to get to the edge. And then it's just a track meet at that point in time.
Okay.
On first down, Rudolph gonna loft it down the middle of the field, and there's a penalty marker. Two markers fly, and an obvious interference call. James Washington, the intended receiver, and Jason Verrett.
Well, Verrett coming off the bench for the injured Witherspoon, and they attacked him, went right after him. Verrett, as I mentioned, coming over from the Chargers. When he's healthy, he's as good as anybody there is. Just dealt with injuries most of his career.
Pass interference. Defense, number 27. Ball be placed spot of the foul. Automatic. First down.
That looked like 6 points waiting to happen, Trent.
Well, and you see who it was thrown to? Washington. That connection that he and Rudolph have from college days at Oklahoma State. When he needed the big play, that's where he was looking over the top.
Old friends indeed. A lot of time together at Oklahoma State. That penalty worth 32 yards. Rudolph now going deep. This side, he has a man open, and he's got him for the touchdown. Deontay Johnson.
Well, that had to be a double move to get that wide open, or Verrett thought he had safety help. You saw Verrett hesitate and look back. I don't know if Johnson gave him a little stutter or if he just took off running past him, but welcome to the game, Jason Verrett.
Rudolph with another touchdown pass. 2 plays, 81 yards. And Boswell for the extra point, and it is good. Happy times in the end zone for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're regained the lead, 20-17.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Honda. Great deals are waiting at your Honda dealer. Corona Extra. Find your beach. And by Verizon, the network more people rely on.
On Monday night at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh, the Steelers hosted Ladies' Night Out. Hundreds of female Steeler fans worked out with current and former Steelers players, ran football drills, toured the locker room. This kick bounces into the end zone for a touchback. Go back to the touchdown.
Keep your eye on DeAndre Johnson. He's down here at the bottom of the screen, and he's going to be matched up on Jason Verrett. And what he does on the release, we're going to take a look here, freeze it. Look at what Jason Verrett, his head is turned back here. He's looking back at the quarterback, and what Mason Rudolph had done is he had gone a 3-step drop, looked to the right. When he came back to the left, Verrett was looking back at Mason Rudolph and thought he was going to get rid of the ball. So because he was cheating and looking back at the quarterback, as soon as he saw that footwork come back that way, he froze, and that allowed Johnson to get down the sideline clean.
Breida breaking out of the backfield and across the 30 to about the 32-yard line.
And you may think that was just a simple play. Why did it take so much explanation? That's how much goes into it. When you're a corner and you're trying to study the drops of a quarterback, and when you're a quarterback, you're turning and trying to read things. There's a lot of different things that could just go into what seems like a simple play.
Garoppolo, a wide open receiver and out of bounds inside the 45-yard line. That's Marquise Goodwin. So this hurry up has worked well for the San Francisco offense.
Well, and the bunch formation has worked well for the 49ers as well. It causes confusion in the defense when you're trying to get multiple release, when you stack the receivers together, which they're doing it once again. You got the 2 receivers at the top of your screen.
Breida trying to turn the corner. And out of bounds short of the 35.
It's man-to-man coverage. You can get caught in the wash and get somebody open. If it's zone coverage, then you have to have the communication there. And that's the one thing over and over again we've heard from the Steelers, whether it be head coach Mike Tomlin, Keith Butler, the defensive coordinator who we're looking at right now. It's just the communication part of it. The first 2 games, too many communication breakdowns that allowed guys to be wide open.
2nd and 4.
McGlinchey just came out of the game.
Replaced by Brunskill. And right up the middle is Raheem Mostert. Inside the 20 to the 19. A 19-yard gain and another San Francisco first down.
Well, you bring in a new right tackle, Brunskill, who's been standing around the whole game. And guess what? We're going to hand the ball and go right over the top of you. Excellent job sealing it to the inside. He had a little bit of help from Kittle before Kittle bounced up to the linebacker.
Mostert again. Right side, inside the 15 to the 13.
McGlinchey coming back in the game now at right tackle.
McGlinchey is 6'8", 310 pounds in his second season out of Notre Dame.
We saw that stat, the number of big plays that the San Francisco offense have. They came into today as the number 2 offense in the NFL with runs 10 yards or more, passes 20 yards or more. That's what signals a big play.
This is Jeff Wilson as they keep it on the ground, and Wilson bulls his way inside the 10 to about the 8. And that is enough for a first down. It'll be 1st and goal.
Well, they came into today averaging 179 yards a game, 4th in the NFL in rushing the football, and now just shy of 160 yards on the ground.
Pittsburgh not really showing they can stop this ground game, Trent. This is Wilson. To about the 7. Hargrave with the stop. Wearing out that Pittsburgh defense a little bit.
It is, and this is the time, look for a play action pass with Garoppolo. Kyle Shanahan told us on Friday, said we like to move Garoppolo around. We like, especially in the red zone, we don't like keeping him in that spot. And because the run game has been working so well, and just a little indicator, they stayed in the huddle a little bit longer. Look for something to get him moving around or pass play here.
Garoppolo standing in, trying to break out, got rid of it and threw it away. I don't know how he escaped.
Yeah, I don't know how he got away from the first one.
It's like Bud Dupree from the Steelers in on the quarterback. Right there.
TJ Watt swipes at him. Bud Dupree has him around the waist. There's another shot that Garoppolo takes.
3rd and goal. Once again, it's Jeff Wilson in the backfield alongside Garoppolo. And a mess up on the snap, and it is picked up by the Pittsburgh Steelers, T.J. Watt.
Richie James Jr. was the receiver coming in motion, trying to give him the handoff underneath. Poor exchange. What's the timing? The snap actually hits him. I thought they were trying to run a wide receiver sweep, but instead hits James right in the face mask. TJ Watt's there to cover it up.
That is the 5th San Francisco turnover of the day, and a dejected looking offensive line. And the Steelers take over at their own 14-yard line. Connor. Boy, what a turnaround, Trent. 49ers were looking at least a tie game, if not more.
Take a look there with the record of teams -4 in turnover, and that's what the 49ers are sitting at right now. They're -4 in the first half, but then they had the interception of Rudolph. Now with the other turnover, the Steelers are back to a +4. So, yeah, this is completely – the first half was different than what we had in the third quarter, and now all of a sudden the 49ers have another turnover, giving the Steelers a chance here. They're up 3, but now they can work the clock and make a bigger lead.
Rudolph over the middle. That's complete to Connor out of the backfield, and Connor right at that first down marker. And it is enough for a first down. Clock continues to move. 5:55 to play in regulation.
Avoiding third downs is the way that you can convert it. Make sure you can keep the ball moving.
This is Connor.
Ball's out.
Who's got it? 49ers have it. DeForest Buckner. After Eric Armstead punched it out, Buckner was there to gather it in.
Well, Armstead was relentless pursuit from the backside. when Connor plants to cut it back, not realizing Armstead is in pursuit. He's able to knock it loose before Connor's knee hits the ground. Buckner there to pick it up.
So the 49ers once again back in business, just inside the Pittsburgh 25. Two turnovers in the last minute and 20 seconds. 5.5 to play. Near side, pass is complete. This is George Kittle, and Kittle just inside the 15.
He is so good after catching the football. His yards after catch, his elusiveness. Devin Bush, first-round pick for the Steelers there, in position, and there's Kittle's family.
Nice when you travel, get your own cheering section.
6 catches, 57 yards for George Kittle right now.
2nd and 1. Jeff Wilson. Not sure he got the first down.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a little bit shy.
So it'll be 3rd and 1. And Kyle Shanahan with something to think about if they don't convert here. Are you looking at a tie game, or are you looking to?
Well, I think you got to kick the field goal if you don't get it. But I'm surprised they didn't get on the ball quick and run a quarterback sneak. That's what they did the last time they were there. Oh, there it is.
And that's enough for a first down.
Last time they didn't mess around. They just got on the ball right away and did it. That time coming out of the huddle.
Clock continues to move. 4 minutes to play. San Francisco. All 3 of their timeouts remaining.
Remember how well they utilize Juszczyk in the passing game. The running game's been going so well.
This is Wilson. A lot of contact right around the 10-yard line, which is where he's brought down.
This is the area of the field they like to keep him in. Run game, run game, run game. He's lead blocking the whole time, and then all of a sudden you do a play fake. Juszczyk fakes that block, sneaks out into the flat. Something that could be set up by the way that they've had success running the football.
Well, they've had a lot of success with the hurry up at the line, and that's come to a halt here. Three minutes to play in regulation. Wilson and Juszczyk in the backfield. And a whistle. And a timeout. So the 49ers use the first.
Before the ball was snapped, timeout, San Francisco.
Of their 3
second
timeouts.
charge of the second half. Timer, please reset the game clock to 2 minutes, 53 seconds.
Here's a reminder for you next Sunday, an NFL on CBS doubleheader once again, a full day of games, including the Bills defending their home field against the New England Patriots. It's followed by the Vikings and the Chicago Bears. Key battle in the NFC North. All begins with our guys previewing the day's games on the NFL Today at noon Eastern Time here on CBS. So I beg your pardon, that is the second timeout taken by the San Francisco 49ers. So they have 1 remaining. Pittsburgh has 2. And looking at a 2nd and 7. Garoppolo spinning, throwing over the middle, complete. Penalty marker is down. George Kittle with the reception, close to the 5, and now let's check the flag.
Holding, offense, number 67. 10-yard penalty, second down.
That is the rookie Justin School.
It's your fault, Greg. We called out how clean of a game he'd been playing, and now a couple of holds and
there it is,
and the
right in the middle of this
blindside block.
So a little tougher now for the 49ers. Backed up to the 20-yard line. It is 2nd and 17. Garoppolo outside. Pass is complete to Richie James. Brought down at about the 14-yard line by Minkah Fitzpatrick. Clock continues to move as we come up on 2.5 to play in regulation.
Steelers maintain their aggressiveness, rush 5, but played a zone behind it. Take a look at Fitzpatrick, who's only been with the Steelers for a few days, had a big interception in the first half.
3rd and 11. Garoppolo under pressure, escapes, on the move, penalty marker is down, that's in the end zone, incomplete. And there is a flag down at the 3-yard line.
Hayward,
and that is down. Cameron Hayward. And he is slow to get up.
Prior to the pass, holding defense in the 26. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
That penalty is on Mark Barron. And that will give the 49ers a first down. Well, we have 2 minutes to play. They will look at Cameron Hayward, and we'll take a timeout.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Pizza Hut, official pizza sponsor of the NFL. And by Honda. Great deals are waiting at your Honda dealer.
Back in Santa Clara, let's take a look at the penalty that was called on that last play.
Well, keep an eye on Mark Barron. That's who the hold is going to be on. He's covering George Kittle as he's running down the middle. Watch on the cut. He wraps him around with both arms right in front of the official. You'll see the flag come flying in right over the top of him. Easy call for the official.
First down, 1st and goal just inside the 10.
Short, right here. 18.
This is Jeff Wilson straight ahead to the 5.
And Greg, just to jump in real quick, goes back to our conversation on Friday with Richard Sherman. He said penalties are favored towards the offense. He said you can have a 5-yard defensive penalty that all of a sudden gives the offense a first down. And even though it works in the 49ers' favor, that was exactly the type of play Richard Sherman was talking about, because all of a sudden it's long down in distance because of the penalty, but now a 5-yard penalty gives them 1st and goal. See if the 49ers can take advantage of it.
By the way, Cameron Hayward was able to walk off the field under his own power. 2nd and goal. Garoppolo throwing at the goal line, touchdown! Dante Pettis.
Give Pettis credit for coming back to the football. As soon as Garoppolo released this, I thought Steven Nelson was going to step in front of it and get the interception. Nelson was on the outside. He fell off of his receiver and started collapsing to the inside to where Pettis was. But Pettis, because of the way he comes back and attacks the football, comes up with the ball. He cuts right in front of Nelson. The two defenders run into each other. Touchdown 49ers.
Extra point attempt is on its way, and it is good. Huge extra point, which gives the 49ers a 4-point lead with 1:15 to play in regulation.
Catching the ball was great. Coming back to the ball was even better for Pettis.
So turnovers and all, the 49ers with a 4-point lead and 75 seconds on the clock.
But the Steelers still have 2 timeouts in their pocket. So now you got a first-time starting quarterback in Mason Rudolph. You're down by 4. You have double timeouts. You can utilize the field. You don't have to work the boundary. Yes, if you can get out of bounds, get out of bounds. But you don't have to force it to the boundary knowing that you have those 2 timeouts.
It's only been 20 years since the 49ers won a game, turning the ball over 5 times. Mike Tomlin and the Steelers looking 0-3 right in the face right now. Johnny Holton. Got a chance to run this one back. He will from the 1. Right up the middle of the field, across the 20 and down at about the 22-yard line. This has been a explosive second half, Trent.
6-3 at halftime. We wouldn't have expected this coming out in the second half, but Mason Rudolph to Juju Smith-Schuster for the long touchdown reception, and then hard touchdown run in the middle of the line, and then Johnson on the outside taking advantage of Barrett, and then Pettis. Great job coming back to the football, getting in the end zone. 4-point game here with the 1:09 to go.
Steelers with 2 timeouts remaining. And not a whole lot of time on the board. Let's see. Rudolph. On the move. Being chased. Had to throw it away. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Well, when you got to scramble to your right and all your receivers are on the left side of the field, it doesn't give you many options, and that's really all he could do is throw it away. They were flooding the left side of the field. They had a 5-yard route, a 15-yard route, and a deeper 25 to 30-yard route, but when you scramble to the right, that eliminates that side of the field.
Rudolph, little pump, going to run with it, and slides down at the 30-yard line. They'll mark him down at the 29. It looks like about 3 yards short of a first down. 49, 48, and now the clock stops.
Mike Tomlin called the timeout.
So the Steelers down to 1 timeout. And remember, a field goal does them no good.
Well, now because it's 3rd down, you got to make sure you get the first down. You've got 2 downs to get it, but you got to make sure you get the first down. I would still like to get, if you're going to get a big chunk in the middle of the field, get it out towards the 50, 45-yard line. Pick up a 15, 20-yard chunk. If you're going to burn that final timeout, make sure it's worthwhile where you're getting a big chunk of yardage.
'49er fans with visions of 3-0 in their heads. Rudolph dancing, under pressure, escaping, and goes down.
He lost the
ball. And covered by the Steelers.
That is how this 49ers defense has been able to have so much success.
Forward, and another offensive player recovered it. We'll move the ball back to the spot of the fumble. It's 4th down. Pittsburgh has called their 3rd and final timeout of the second half.
So the Steelers out of timeout as you watch the fumble.
By rushing 4 and dropping 7, it gives you a distinct advantage, and when you're able to continue to get pressure. 4th and long.
Last gasp for the Steelers. Rudolph throwing down the middle. It is incomplete. And the ball will go over on downs.
This 49ers defense has stepped up big all day. Only allowing the Steelers 240 yards of offense on a day where the 49ers had 5 turnovers.
I guess that's the master plan for turning the ball over, because that's a nightmare for a coach.
That is a nightmare. The fact that they finished -3 in turnovers and they're going to end up winning this football game says a lot about the defense and what they were able to do in terms of stopping the Pittsburgh Steelers.
The Pittsburgh Steelers have begun the season 0-3 12 times, and all 12 times they missed the playoffs.
Well, you have to remember, Mike Tomlin, in his 13th season now, he's never had a losing record. It's going to be hard to dig out of this hole at 0-3, but if there's anybody that can do it, it's Mike Tomlin.
Meanwhile, Kyle Shanahan and the San Francisco 49ers go to 3-0 in the very tough NFC West. That's it. Our final score, the San Francisco 49ers 24, the Pittsburgh Steelers 20. For Trent, for Melanie, for all of our CBS Sports crew here in Santa Clara, I'm Greg Gumbel saying so long from the West Coast. It's time for bonus coverage. Let's take you to James Brown in New York City.